All right, so yesterday things got a little too negative, a little too down in the dumps. So today it's going to be all positivity. No complaining, no whining, no moaning. Even if we play Nick those 5 times in a row, everything stays upbeat. So let's go ahead and spin and see what we're playing first. Blue-white Lotus control. This is the blue-white Lotus control. It's a variant of blue-white control that seeks to use the power of Lotus Field to get much ahead on mana. So obviously we're not doing the whole untap shenanigans of Lotus Field combo. So what exactly are we doing with these Lotus Fields? Well, we have 8 ways of getting the Lotus Field into play without actually sacrificing any lands. The first is Strict Proctor. 2 mana 1/3 flyer. Whenever a permanent enters and causes a triggered ability to trigger, you counter it unless the controller pays 2. So with Strict Proctor in play, you can just play Lotus Field, triggering Strict Proctor, and then you just choose not to pay the 2, and you don't have to sacrifice any lands. Secondly, we have Discontinuity. 6 mana. As long as it's your turn, the spell costs 4 less, end the turn. So if it's your own turn, and you have 2 lands in play, you go Lotus Field, then you cast Discontinuity in response, so that the Lotus Field sack trigger is countered. And later in the game, when you have more mana, it's a time stop for your opponent. So those are the primary 2 ways to do things with Lotus Field, but you can of course just play a normal blue-white control game. Has many of the same cards, counter spells, Memory Deluge, Verdict, Wandering Emperor, Teferi, Farewell, Shark Typhoon. We've all seen these before in the regular blue-white control decks. However, some specific interactions are that Teferi is really good when you're untapping Lotus Field, which anyone who's played the Jeskai Lotus Field deck in Modern will be familiar with. And this deck is just going to get up to a lot more mana in general. And another thing with Strict Proctor is that his ability to counter triggered abilities is also relevant for a lot of opponent's stuff. So for example, your opponent will sometimes have the 2 mana to pay for the triggers, but oftentimes will not. So this counters, for example, Cavalier of Thorns ETB trigger. It counters Kiora trying to draw a card off of a 4-drop entering. It counters Sky Sovereign and Essica's Chariot triggers. There's just Cauldron Familiar. There's just a bunch of triggers that this randomly winds up countering. You also have some lands, so 1 Castle Ardenvale, 1 Vantress, 1 Aganjo, 1 Odawara, 1 Hall of Storm Giants, then a bunch of blue-white lands, and Thespian Stage to copy Lotus Field. Jari Disruption for counters, 2 copies of Impulse, 2 copies of Temp Lockdown, and 1 Dream Trawler and 1 Sphinx Rev main. So one of the big downsides to this deck over the traditional blue-white control decks is that because you have to run all of these cards to enable Lotus Field, so Strict Proctor and Discontinuity, that means you got to shave 8 cards out of the deck, which means you have fewer counter spells and fewer removal spells, although you do still have some, but not as many. So you're better at playing a ramp game, but you're worse at playing a control game. Sideboard includes Sunfall, March of Otherworldly Light, Aether Gust, Narset's Reversal, another Shark Typhoon, Thought Distortion, which you can actually play because you have Lotus Field to fix for mana, and 4 Vetoes. So let's go ahead and jump into the first league of the day with blue-white Lotus control. Proctor incidentally stops so much stuff, and people often forget how much it hits when against it. Yeah, it stopped. Let's see if I can just bring this up quickly. So it stops like Mausoleum Wanderer from triggering when you play a Spirit, Nick Kiora and Cavalier of Thorns, Cauldron Familiar, bunch of stuff from the Fires deck like Yorion, stops Thalia's Lieutenant out of Humans. Like there's just a bunch of random stuff that it hits. All right, we are on the play for round number 1. Okay, well, the hand is not great, but it does have Proctor into Lotus Field, so I will keep. So Hall of Storm Giants, go. Spire Bluff Canal. All right, another Proctor in case our first one dies. So play Hengegate Pathway, play Strict Proctor, pass. Riverglide Pathway. All right, let's slam this immediately before they have a chance to kill it. So Lotus Field, nope, don't pay it. Then go to combat, swing. All right, and we got nothing else to do, so I think it's probably better to cycle this farmland than to play another Proctor, because I want to really draw like Teferi, Memory Deluge, etc. Impulse. All right, so it's not Phoenix. Blue-white control is just such an unfun matchup for spirits, and this one comes with a 2 mana 1/3 blocker, and it turns off Rattle Chains. Yeah, Rattle Chains is another one that it hits. All right, cycle farmland, another Lotus Field. All right, play this, no pay. So we have a ton of mana, nothing to do with it though. Let's go to combat, although we will be able to activate Hall of Storm Giants next turn. All right, so let's just play another Proctor. Flip the switch. Okay, so it's Atraxa. Can't pay the 4. Sure. Cool thing is, if they transmog into Atraxa here, it doesn't actually get to resolve the trigger. Transmog. Atraxa. Strict Proctor. Take that, Atraxa. Alright, I guess we just have to Verdict now. Or Farewell, since they're tapped out. Alright, so pay a bunch, cast Farewell. What mode? So exile creatures. The graveyard, I guess, possibly matters. And that's it. Oh yeah, it matters if they're delving. So let's exile the creatures in the graveyards. Bam. And then play this tapped and pass. You said before that you think Lotus Field should be banned in Pioneer. I agree with this take, but was curious why you think it should be banned out of the format. Because it's too hard to interact with. It's a turn 4 combo deck that relies on lands that very few decks have answers to, and even the answers to it, like Damping Sphere and Alpine Moon, just get hit by Besejun and Otawara. And again, it's just another deck that is absolutely no fun whatsoever. Alright, I can cast Deluge, or I can just start smacking them with Hall of Storm Giants. Hall of Storm Giants is a 3-turn kill, as opposed to Deluging end of turn. Let's see. If I go this one, I don't think a Ganja is going to be relevant in this matchup, so let's just play that. And then, all right, let's cast Deluge now. All right, Teferi and Discount. And then I'm just going to pass. I'm not going to jam Teferi into potentially a counterspell. So, opponent, cycles Shark Typhoon. Well, we'll just discount that. Bam. Not only do you not draw, you also don't get a Shark. Mirex. All right, we do have to actually put stuff on the board now. So, back to us. Another Lotus Field. All right, so this one, play Teferi, plus Soul Partition. I think it is probably better to play this Lotus Field rather than not play it. So let's play the Lotus Field, sack the white lands, and then go to the end step and untap the 2 tapped Lotus Fields. Opponent activates Mirex, right, untap the Lotus Fields, pass back to them, and then we've got Deluge for 7 plus Soul Partition up. Lotus Field being immune to Field of Ruin is incredibly annoying. Yeah, it's too hard to interact with. Transmog. No. All right. Transmog fizzles. Giganta into hand. End step, Deluge flashback. Double discontinuities or Wandering Emperor. Double discontinuities. All right, so plus Teferi. Then we go Animate Hall. Oh, did I overtap? Oh, yeah, I did overtap. Oh, well. Combat, swing with Hall. End step, untap 2 Lotus Fields. I could discontinuity on their upkeep, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to wait until they try to cast something. Opponent activates Mirex, plays Transmog. So yeah, we just cast Discontinuity in response. All right, sideboarding. So they are Izzet Atraxa. So we want Veto to counter the Transmogrifies. We can take Thought Distortion as a way to eat their hand. Aether Gust can bounce the Transmog. March of Otherworldly Light can also insta-kill the token, but that doesn't seem like a great plan. But it's possibly a plan, and then Shark Typhoon is also possibly a plan. So what's bad? Temp Lockdown is useless. Jwari Disruption is also a land, so I can't just cut it willy-nilly. Wandering Emperor, pretty useless in this matchup. Dream Trawler is also pretty bad. What else? Verdict. I do need some number of removal in case Atraxa resolves. So cut Farewell. I don't need that much though, so cut one of the Verdicts. And then so the only question is, are any of these cards not great? I'm heavily leaning towards Soul Partition, I guess also worse than March. Yeah, cut Soul Partition. And then is sniping a token useful? The Aether Gust stops Transmog for 1 turn, whereas March counters the token, or gets rid of the token, and then Transmog fizzles forever. So let's do that. All right, let's run that. Blue-White Control is such a gross archetype in Pioneer. I wonder if banning Teferi would be a good move. It honestly just shouldn't have been made. While I agree that Teferi is another annoying card, I don't think it's bannable. All right, this hand's real slow, but it does eventually just hit Thespian Stage Lotus Field, but having absolutely no interaction for the Transmog game plan on the draw seems not great. Although, we are a control deck, so we can potentially just leave mana open and bluff that we have counterspells, and they will never just cast Transmog into them. They also can't just make tokens willy-nilly outside of Mirex. Or I'm going to keep. They had Gigant the last game, but they didn't reveal it this game. Okay, so let's play... I'm probably not playing Lotus Field on turn 3, but I might. So that being the case, let's play a Gonjo first. What would you do to fix the generally unfun play patterns of Blue-White Control then? You need to stop printing card advantage engine planeswalkers and print creatures that actually have to win the game by attacking. Damping Sphere. All right. So I'm definitely not playing Lotus Field now, so let's just play Hall of Storm Giants and pass the turn. Your control deck win condition needs to be a bomb that will win the game in a few turns, as opposed to a card advantage engine that just sits on the field and constantly draws cards every single turn while not technically winning the game, but drawing out the game. So not F6ing because I need to bluff that I have counterspells. Ardenvale. At this point, let's just play a tapped Hallowed Fountain. Or if they do have a Planeswalker, have it also be a clock like Wandering Emperor. Yeah, Wandering Emperor is fine. Wandering Emperor is one of those cards that's really, really good, and it's on the edge of being too good, but it isn't too good. And importantly, it doesn't have a stupid ultimate that wins the game, so it doesn't create a sub-game where you absolutely have to kill the Wandering Emperor, you're going to lose. You have to tick it down in order to kill creatures or make samurai tokens. You don't just get to keep ticking it up, generating value for no mana every turn. And it doesn't draw cards. All right, so now I don't think it matters which land I play. Let's play Thespian Stage and pass. Feels awful to play against, but most players I see main the deck also dislike playing it because you can just draw the wrong half of the deck and lose to bad luck. What, if blue-white control, you mean? All right, I'm going to cycle the Shark, end of turn. Cycle Shark, Typhoon, make a 2/2. Volcanic Spite, sure. I guess I could have cast Deluge as well, but I don't want to expose, because one of their token makers is Flip the Switch. All right, I'm probably just going to do it end of turn then. All right, so play Ardenvale and go. Seems that WotC's answer to that problem is to make all halves of the deck threats and answers. Yeah, cards, that's another design philosophy that needs to change. They need to stop making cards that do everything. Okay, Bankbuster resolves. So Flip the Switch can be cast. So I can just make a token. I probably should just cast Memory Deluge at this point. And then if they counter it, then I get to resolve to Fairy. All right, they didn't counter it, so let's grab Veto and Impulse. Back to us. Another Impulse. So we'll play the blue side of this land. And then I guess we just pass back to them, and then they're going to draw with the Bankbuster. If I play Teferi, they can counter it. Can't use anything with these Lotus Fields at the moment. I could cast Impulse now, but I don't see what that gets me. People who are annoyed by current control patterns would be annoyed by any control play patterns. I agree that it's way down on the list of BS. Actually, I have 8 cards in my hand, right? Well, I'm just going to discard a Lotus Field, so it's fine. End step, clean up, and then they're going to draw Bankbuster. Discard Lotus Field. It's way down. Control is way down on the list of BS problems with these formats, but I do agree that it is a unfun play pattern. All right, end step, Deluge. Didn't get countered. Ooh, Discontinuity. All right, March and Discontinuity. Cast Impulse. Oh, all right, I can't cast Impulse because Damping Sphere. All right, that's fine. I can try to march this now. The problem is, like, I'm just going to go to discard if I don't try to expend my resources at the moment. So, all right, march the Damping Sphere. So, white, colorless. March your Damping Sphere. Flip the switch in response. We'll veto that. And although this exposes me to potentially getting Atraxa, I think that's fine. All right, Lotus Field, exiling or sacking Igonjo and this land, probably. Igonjo and this land. So even if they get Atraxa on the board, it's not too bad. We have so much advantage going on. Like, we have ways of answering it. We have tons of card draw. We're good. They also have to expend mana to do it. So they have to tap Bankbuster to get the pilot token and then pay another 4. Another Damping Sphere. No! All right, well, we're in an uphill battle then. This is 5 mana. Do I just try to jam to Fairy? I probably just need lands, right? So Impulse. This makes colorless. Impulse. All right, another Hallowed Fountain. So this becomes a creature next turn. They can start hitting us, but that's okay. All right, let's grab Hallowed Fountain. Any order this. Play this, shock it in, and then we'll pass with Deluge open. Modern control is nothing like old control. The days of tap out go are long gone. I like playing control, but it takes too long to win, and I like having pattern breaks between matches. Yeah. It's the bad play. So win cons should not be card advantage engines that just sit there drawing extra cards every single turn, and they should also not be cards like Emergent Ultimatum that I just ramp and I play this spell and you lose the game. And then, and unless you're playing counter spells, you can't answer it. Another Bankbuster. All right, end of turn Deluge. So let's see. Ooh, Thought Distortion, but I can't cast Thought Distortion with Damping Sphere out. So maybe I just want 2 lands. I can always play Teferi and tuck the Damping Sphere, although that's not great either. So let's just take 2 lands. So Vantress. At this point, I guess I just try to discontinuity them. I'm not actually sure what to do here. If I play Teferi, it can get countered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. That is enough to Impulse. And I just need to find an answer to Damping Sphere. Draw with Bankbuster. It used to be legitimately acceptable to tap out for Jason Pass. Nowadays, you leave all your mana up to answer threats during your opponent's turn or instant speed draw everything. In my opinion, I think Control being able to advance their game plan and have their shields up at the same time is the biggest issue with modern Control play patterns and by extension card design. Drawing cards and untapping lands, drawing 2 at instant speed. What the heck is this? Well, that's why I'm averse to cards like Spell Queller. I hate stuff like that where, and it's even outside of Spell Queller, there becomes a problem when you have too many flash threats, where suddenly decks can play the play pattern of, I just have counter spells or removal, then instant speed, plus threats with flash. If you play something that I need to counter or remove, I do that, and if you don't, I flash in a threat. And it's worse on cards like Spell Queller that are both threats and answers. All right, we're at 10. Opponent taps a bunch of mana. Shark Typhoon. All right, we're going to discount this in response. So blue, blue, blue. Tap, tap, tap. Do they have Spell Pierce? Like, what else can they pay for with their Damping Sphere in play? Oh, I guess they have a treasure token. Oh, they do have Spell Pierce. Well, highly unfortunate. So Shark Typhoon resolves. At least we get to resolve Teferi. All right, now what? So Teferi, tuck Damping Sphere, and then cast Discontinuity. White, blue, this one. Oh, I can't cast Discontinuity because I have to tuck the Damping Sphere. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I have this and this up, and I get to play 1 land. They can crew Bankbuster to hit Teferi and kill it, but I just need to get this off the field. All right, so Teferi, I'm going to play almost certainly Hengegate. I don't know. Teferi, blue, white, blue, this one, this one. I should have played Hengegate first. Yeah, because Spell Pierce. So now I have to tap these 2 down. All right, pay the Spell Pierce mana. So resolve this and get Damping Sphere out of here, although they get 2 card draws. So, all right, play this tapped. Hopefully they can't draw 3 cards to get the Damping Sphere back. It's okay, there is a way out of this. Are they playing another Shark Typhoon? Okay, so they're cycling Shark Typhoon. Mutavault. Oh, they actually have lethal, because then this Shark crews this one. They actually have lethal. Wow. All right. My most hated card in the deck, though, is Shark Typhoon, because interacting with it is awful. I'm fine with Shark Typhoon's cycle mode, because the cycle mode is actually mana intensive. What I'm not fine with is hard cast it, and then every spell generates tokens for free. I guess I do need Farewell so I can rip all their artifacts apart. So Farewell, Aether Gust is like pretty bad, actually. What else? If their primary mode of it, well, one of their modes of interaction is Spell Pierce, so it's possible for Dream Trawler to slip through. What else is not great? Honestly, Verdict. Probably don't need Rev either. Let's play Dream Trawler over that. All right, this is fine. No Lotus Fields, but keepable, I think. We can just play lands until we get there. Play this tapped and go. Honestly, I probably should have just played the farmland. Like, it's so unlikely that I'm not going to be playing that for mana. All right. Blue side, Strict Proctor, go. Typhoon is great. It's a 6 mana enchantment. You said you wanted Control to be able to win the game quick. Yeah, win the game quick in a way that you can actually interact with, though. Not, I have a 6 mana enchantment, and every spell I cast generates a free token, and there's nothing you can do. All right, I guess, do I attack with Strict Proctor? Yeah, that's fine. If they want to animate Mutavault on their turn to attack us, we can just march it. If they had Damping Sphere, they would have played it that turn, so let's play this and pass. End step, Impulse, sure. That's another thing. Interaction windows is another area where they're terrible at their design. So you have cards like Yawgmoth and Mayhem Devil where it doesn't matter if you have the removal for them, they just sack stuff, instant speed, and there's nothing you can do. Volcanic Spite on my Strict Proctor, sure. Draw Teferi. All right, well, we need to draw more lands. Play this, go. Sounds nitpicky, you can remove it, you can counter it, you can discard it. Hand Disruption and counter spells are not viable arguments. Counter spells saying, well, if you're in blue, then you can just counter it. Like, yeah, what if you're not in blue? What if they play it when you don't have counter spells open? Man, just jamming Teferi here is like, and then you just counter it and transmog. Counter it and transmog's okay, though. They're going to use Murex anyway, so Hand Disruption also not a viable argument. All right, jam Teferi. If they have counter, they have counter, which they're gonna, but we don't have anything to do otherwise. Flip the switch, sure. Yeah, the old dies to removal argument. What's the problem? You can just remove it. What if you don't have removal? In this case, it's even worse because the removal that you need to get rid of a Shark Typhoon is very specific removal. All right, so now I can discount. I'm not sure what help that is. It's probably better not to do it on their upkeep and better to do it when they try to cast a spell into it. For 6 mana enchantments, it's an argument. What are you doing with your deck that a 6 mana enchantment hits the field and you can't win? Playing mid-range, playing control, like, it doesn't matter. Your opponent gets to 6 mana, they cast Shark Typhoon, you just lose the game on the spot because you can't remove it, and then every spell they cast gets a free shark. It's not even like, oh, well, the shark you know, you have to pay mana for it, or it's capped at a certain amount so that the shark can't be too big. Nope, you just get free gigantic sharks for the rest of the game. All right, what am I doing on the end step? I guess I'm Thespian staging, copying Mutavault or Mirrex. Mirrex is bad. Let's copy Mutavault. Force Spike at this point in the game, not going to do it. So play this. I just don't have a Lotus field, so I can't Thought Distortion them. They just keep making tokens every turn with Mirrex. If I play Teferi, they just counter it. Also, I can't Teferi on this board and have mana for Spell Pierce, so it's better to wait a turn. All right, let's wait. I guess I should stop in their upkeep because they don't ever need to tap out for anything. They can just keep making tokens. Upkeep, discount. This either denies them a draw or it forces them to use counter magic to counter it. Yeah, all right. Make disappear. Half the Pioneer decks win before that. If your mid-range or control can't win or deal with it in Pioneer, it's on you. I've seen few games lost to Hardcast Shark Typhoon that weren't basically lost anyway. See, I don't agree with this philosophy. I don't agree that there should ever be any card that says, if this card comes down, you lose. Because when you have cards that say, this card comes down, you lose the game, then the card may as well just say, you win the game. Like, why does it even have any other text on it? The other part of the problem is that when you have cards that are just, 6 mana, you win the game, then you have a philosophy of, well, now decks can't beat it, so you need to speed up, and you need to either play combo or hyper-fast aggro decks that can just race it. And then the format devolves into, don't interact with your opponent at all, just kill them as fast as possible. Dream Trawler or Teferi? Teferi I can pay for Spell Pierce. Either, if they have a different counter, then I can't pay for either. I can't pay for Make Disappear either way. So let's just go with Teferi first. All right, flip the switch. Can't pay for it. So I guess I'm animating Mutavault to block these Might tokens now. So bad, but yeah. They have removal, they have removal. Animate Mutavault. Block. All right, 14 and 4 poison. So basically, they just pivot into a control game plan. Like, if the Transmog game plan isn't any good, then they just pivot to control. All right, well, they still have Transmog anyway. Hullbreaker Horror. Well, we're super dead now. Wow. Yeah, we just can't win. Yep. All right. I guess try to resolve Dream Trawler, and it's just going to get bounced back to our hand. Or countered. All right. Yeah, we're dead. Can't win the game anymore. On to round number 2. But it doesn't say that. You have March into Fairy in your deck, so I'm supposed to spend 7 mana on March of Otherworldly Light main phase to hit the Shark Typhoon. Do I even have that mana? Or exile multiple white spells from my hand, or I'm supposed to play Teferi to tuck the shark when they probably have creatures in play, because they have a Shark Typhoon in play. So I'm supposed to pay 5 mana to tuck it, not even get rid of it permanently, and then just have my Teferi die on their turn. Let's see. This is fine. I guess I go turn 1 Farmland, turn 2 Hull, have Force Spike. We're on the play. It's one of the reasons why people dislike Fable the Mirror Breaker so much, because it's 2 threats that you have to deal with that are, one of which is an enchantment, so it's hard to handle. So you have to spend 2 cards to get rid of both, and you may not even have a card to get rid of the Fable. Blackcleave Cliffs, Thoughtseize, sure. I presume they'll just take Memory Deluge here. If not, all right, Dwari, so they're going to resolve a creature then next turn. Sure, Soul Partition's pretty bad here, but what can we do? They're not going to play a creature? Okay. Thespian Stage, go. You know what? I wish this deck wasn't playing Dream Trawler so that we could have Kahira in the sideboard. 3 mana. Liliana. Am I supposed to partition this? What am I discarding? Maybe I just discard Partition. I don't really care if they have Liliana. Like, that's fine. Alternatively, I just discard Memory Deluge. All right, let's discard Deluge, I guess. Discard Deluge. They're discarding a Swamp. All right, so let's Soul Partition this. So at least they have to replay it. Strict Proctor. It's better to just have Deluge up, so pass back to them. I mean, they spent 6 on it. You claimed it won the game on its own when it sounds like other things happened. Without the cycle, it would be unplayable because it's too slow, hard to cast 90% of the matches. Yeah, but people don't play it for that mode. They play it for the cycle mode, and then if you get to 6, then it wins the game. All right, Deluge, after they play Bone Crusher, what am I getting? I need to keep getting lands. Definitely one of the Deluges. I don't need a second Strict Proctor, so we'll just get more mana. I don't have a second white source, so let's grab Hengegate. So I can Verdict this Bone Crusher. That doesn't seem that great. Let's just play Vantress and then Deluge again, and if they commit anything else to the board, then we Verdict. It's one of the appeals of Pauper. There's very few I win the game cards, or ones that existed got banned out. Yeah, I just don't think, like, obviously, if you're spending 6+ mana on a card, it should be, a big bomb game-winning card, right? I mean, clearly. But it shouldn't be a I win the game on the spot card. You just have no possible answer to this card. All right, what am I doing here? I guess Sphinx's Revelation. is another card draw thing, and a second Verdict, so that they can just keep hitting us with this Den. That's not too bad. I'm 1 mana away from being able to activate Haul, second Verdict, and Sphinx's Revelation. So now we get smacked for 8 and go to 12, and then I'm pretty much forced to Verdict to kill the Bone Crusher and the Goblin token. Otawara is a good draw too. So play Hengegate. I can copy their Den. That doesn't do much. I guess I can go Verdict, then play Proctor. Oh no, I'm missing white mana. So, if they do it again, then they're attacking for 9, 3, 7, 8, 9, and then we Sphinx's Reb for 3 cards and get to untap and potentially just handle everything. Although that puts us precariously low. Verdicting here is not great either, though. All right, let's just cast Sphinx's Rev. So Animate Den, take 9, go to 3. Sphinx's Revelation. Whoever thought we'd see this card again, eh? 4, I have 7 mana. I don't want to take shock damage by playing this. Man, that sucks though, doesn't it? I really wanted to play Strict Proctor the same turn. I thought I would hopefully draw another untapped white source that didn't shock me. So what's the best move here? They just animate again and attack. And then I go Emperor, eat Bone Crusher Giant, go to 8, taking 3, 4, 5, 6 mana or 6 damage. Because I can't do both. I could just play Otawara and represent Hall, but that's not great either. I need to get more white sources into play. So Emperor, eat this. I'm at 8 and take 6. And then we lose to another Bone Crusher. Although if they do this, they don't have the mana to play Bone Crusher. Although they have the mana for it next turn because we go to 2. If I Verdict, we also still go to 2. I guess I can play Strict Proctor. If they have exactly untapped land Fatal Push, then we lose the game. This one's just so precarious. So I play Otawara. There's no reason for them not to just jam everything. I guess I have to Impulse to try to find an answer. There's just no combination of moves I can make here to where I don't go to 2. And let's just Verdict. Verdict, kill all these guys. Play this tapped, and then just hold Impulse up. So yeah, animate that. Then we go to 2. Impulse to try to find something else. Another Emperor. And Discontinuity. All right, Discontinuity. Oh, wait. Yeah. So let's take Discontinuity. Yep. So that's fine. This prevents them from like Bone Crushing us maybe. Okay. So now I can play Proctor to block the token and still have mana open for Emperor. So Strict Proctor. I do think I actually need to play Otawara here in case I have to Discontinuity a Bone Crusher Giant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So pass back to them. I guess I could have also just cast Wandering Emperor right then and ate the token, but then I'm forced to possibly chump block Den, I don't know, or go to 1. All right, 2 mana, and they're tapping their Den down. Another land. Bone Crusher, Discontinuity. They just have another one. Fatal Push our guy in response, sure. All right, back to us. So I can play Teferi, and then this will untap enough lands for me to play Emperor. Okay, so white, blue. I'm not going to have enough to activate Hall regardless. Tap one of these and this. I guess I can tuck the token. No, tucking the token's stupid. I need to untap lands. All right, draw. Temp Lockdown is not useful here. So let's play a tapped land and then just go to end step and untap Thespian Stage and another land. Stage Hall, I guess. All right. They didn't have the second Bone Crusher or they would have just done it in response. So they're going to go straight to combat? Really? All right. Cast Emperor. Eat the token. Fatal Push in response so that I can't gain any life. Okay. Graveyard Trespasser deals us a damage. Man, this is so rough. I have to kill this and I have to deal with Den of the Bugbear. I can tuck it with Teferi. I can also just make a Samurai, but I still have to be able to block the token. All right, let's see. I can block Den with Hall. I can make a Samurai token with the Wandering Emperor. How much mana do I have? So if I Verdict here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not enough. I can always Agonjo this, but not before it attacks and gets its trigger. I can Agonjo the Den, though, but again, not before it attacks and gets the trigger. So if I Verdict, kill that, make a Samurai, plus Teferi, and then they attack with Den, and I go Samurai blocks the token, Agonjo, Den of the Bugbear. Okay, so let's plus Teferi. Castle Ardenvale, quite helpful here. Verdict, white, blue, colorless, white. Kill that, make a Samurai token, and then go to my end step, untapping, land. They do still have a Liliana in exile that they can play, which we should not forget about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. I have them on a Flashback Deluge. Duress us. Sure, they take Temp Lockdown. I think Hero of Dominaria would be a more interesting card if you got rid of its ultimate, made its +1 a -1, and made it cost 4 mana. Maybe slap a static ability that gains a loyalty counter at upkeep. So basically, if it was a completely different card, it would be more interesting. Casting Fable. All right, best move is Flashback Deluge. Shark Typhoon and Discontinuity. So plus Teferi. All right, attack with the Samurai token. Swing. Planeswalker ultimates are the worst part of Planeswalkers in 60-card formats IMO, as they are designed to be able to ultimate consistently, and in doing so become immensely hard to actually deal with once resolved. You can quibble about how easy or hard it is to get to ultimates. I just don't think they should exist at all. Why do these cards suddenly create a sub-game of you have to deal with this or you lose the game? They also create an issue where if you haven't dealt with them, it means that they've been just consistently plussing every turn for the past many turns and have already gained a substantial advantage. Samurai hits them, 17. Do I have enough mana to cast Shark Typhoon and cast Discontinuity? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, I don't. I'm one short. I 100% just have to play Discontinuity here. Oh, no, I do, because I have Teferi to untap lands. So play this, play Shark Typhoon, stop on upkeep, Discontinuity, blue. Still get my Shark token. All right. Let's see. Rakdos Midrange. Let's see. Shark Typhoon's probably fine. It's like another value card. Veto, no. Narset, no. Aether Gust can stop Fable from hitting the field for 1 turn. Or Bone Crusher, or like a million other things. It's probably fine. Is March fine? Or Sunfall. These are probably fine as well. I don't really want Soul Partition. Strict Proctor is so much worse against the Fatal Push deck, but I don't think I can cut it completely. Temp Lockdown is definitely bad. Cut that. Dream Trawler's fine. Sphinx's Rev, I need a ton of mana for this to actually be any use. But, that one's probably fine as well. So what's bad? Impulse is kind of bad. Maybe I just don't have the Proctor plan. It stops Graveyard Trespasser trigger, and that's basically it. And then it's just a thing that's exposed to tons of removal from them. Yeah, let's just not play Proctor. Also, if they're running Kroxa, it's really bad to have it out. All right, so let's run that. 1 lands them all. All right, this is fine. So let's keep this and bin one of the 2 Wandering Emperors. Lightstep Pathway, Thought Sees Us. Yep. Again, they could just take Aether Gust so we don't have any interaction early. Yeah, took Aether Gust. All right, Island, go. I really don't want to have to play Lotus Field on turn 3, so hopefully we draw another land before then. 2 mana, Kroxa. Sure, what am I ditching? Probably, oh wait, no, I have Discontinuity. I just drew Discontinuity. What am I talking about? So I should ditch Deluge or Emperor. I guess Emperor. All right, ditch the Emperor. Back to us. Play this tapped. Go. So next turn, Lotus Field, Discont. 3rd land, Fable? No? Yeah, Fable. All right. So Lotus Field, play Discontinuity. Back to them. Then I've got Thespian Stage and 6 mana with Deluge open. Discards Noxious Grasp and a land. Plays another Fable. All right, thankfully these are all creature-based, so I can deal with this board if I just find sweepers. Okay, if I Deluge, what would I play this turn? I don't think anything. I might cast an Aether Gust, but I don't think I even care about that. Is it more mana efficient to copy Lotus Field or to just cast Deluge? If I cast Deluge, I untap and I have 7 mana. If I Thespian Stage and copy Lotus Field, then I untap and have 6, 7, 8, 9 mana with Deluge. All right, it's probably correct to just copy Lotus Field. And that gives me the maximum shot at going Deluge into a sweeper. All right, one of them flips. What else are they discarding? Bone Crusher Giant discarded. Keep hitting us with the Shamans. Make a bunch of more treasure tokens. All right, we're at 14. Now what? Go blank. Oh, that's so rough. All right, I guess we're discarding Deluge plus Plains. Sure. I could technically Deluge into... No, I have no counters that can deal with that. All right, yeah. That resolves. Discard this and this. Oh, they have Kroxa after all that as well? Yeah. So I just have to Deluge here, unfortunately. Kroxa. All right, Deluge. Blue. Verdict plus a Deluge, which I will discard into my graveyard. Then that resolves. Discard the Deluge. All right. Cast Verdict. Get rid of all this stuff. And then play Hengegate and go. So Reflection flips, Graveyard Trespasser, and then they can eat our Deluge. One of the 2 Deluges. All right, Thespian Stage, copy Lotus Field. Otawara. All right, so I guess I flash this back now. Again, what can I even play for 3 mana that I would do now? Maybe I don't. They also get to copy this, and then... I guess if I drew Aether Gust, I would Gust Reflection out. All right, flashback this. Teferi, Shark Typhoon, Gust Farewell. So let's say they do that. make a copy. We get hit for 7. So Farewell and Aether Gust. And then we're going to Aether Gust to this. Duress, no! Well, that sucks. All right, now what? Okay, well, drawing a Verdict will do it. Do I actually have to Otawara this Fable so that they can't discard 2 cards and have Kroxa ready? I guess I do. Verdict. Yeah, I guess I actually have to do that. And then they just replay it. Sure. All right, bounce that. So, Return of the Fable. And Aether Gust, you say. And then they get to draw it and play Fable again. All right, well, I have to keep them off Kroxa, so yeah, Aether Gust. I guess I could have stopped them in their draw step and then done it. So Shaman, take a hit. So now we have to draw pretty well off the top, although there's lots of things we could draw that are good. Return of the Fable, Misery's Shadow. All right, well, we're dead in 1 hit unless we draw something real good here. Ask and ye shall receive everything. All right, we are both top deck modes, boys. Bone Crusher, Deluge, Sphinx's Revelation, and Discontinuity are pretty good. Can't actually cast Discontinuity this turn, but yeah, I'll take both of these. All right, pass back to them. Bone Crusher, we go to 5. Bone Crusher us, and then, or Stomp us, and then play a land and replay Bone Crusher. All right. Do I have the time to cast Sphinx's Revelation? Sphinx's Revelation is for 1, 4, 5, 6. So if I do it, I go to 9 and just barely survive. Probably better to discount on their upkeep. All right. There's many things I could get that are better than just playing farmland as a land. So let's cycle. Teferi is one of them. Blue, white, Teferi. Plus, all right, play this tapped. Then end step, untap the 2 Lotus fields. Upkeep, discontinuity. So back to us. Let's Teferi again. All right, so blue. I guess I can Deluge, right? I can go this one, Deluge, try to find... We've been through a lot of stuff. I can also just Sphinx's Rev for a 10 gajillion cards on my end step, right? 6, 12, 14, 15, 16. I can Sphinx's Rev for 13 cards, then I have to discard a bunch, but that's fine. Kind of want to just kill both of these. So let's go Flashback Deluge, Sunfall, and another Discontinuity. And then cast, so play this as a land. Impulse, Wandering Emperor or Thespian Stage. I guess Wandering Emperor. Then end step, untap these, upkeep, discontinuity again, back to us, plus Teferi, white, and these 2, Sunfall. And then we've got Dream Trawler. So blue, white, white, another color, play Dream Trawler. End step, Teferi untaps the Lotus fields, and back to them. Sheoldred, sure. I can actually just hard cast March on this. White, white, always yield to this. Whenever you draw a card, so I can actually just Sphinx's Rev to kill them right now. All right, on to round number 3. Despite disliking Lotus Field, it is nice to see a deck unironically playing Sphinx's Revelation. See, Lotus Field's more interesting, at least in a deck like this, than in the combo version. Could I have killed them on the spot there? How much mana did I have? I would have drawn with Teferi plus Dream Trawler, or plus, draw for turn plus Teferi plus Dream Trawler's trigger. So Dream Trawler goes up to 6. And then I had, how much mana after that? I think I had like 11 or something. So I could have Sphinx's Revved for 8 and then killed them in 1 hit. Still hate Strict Proctor though. Proctor's fine. It's a 1/3 that dies to a bunch of removal. Doesn't present a clock. Doesn't draw cards. It's fine. I don't mind Lotus in this deck because there is a cost to choosing to build the deck that way with weaker early game answers. But once you do assemble the mana advantage, typically the game ends faster. Yeah, that's the thing. Like decks, cards, whatever, everything needs trade-offs. They need balance. So this deck says you're doing the Lotus Field plan, but in order for like a better late game, but in order to enable that plan, you got to play all of these discontinuities and strict proctors, which means you can't play as many removal spells and counter spells, which means your early game is weaker. It also means you're weaker against like combo decks, for example. Riverglide Pathway. All right, this tapped. Go. Consider, all right, so Phoenix, almost certainly. Another Riverglide Pathway. Chart a course. Discarding Phoenix. All right, well, I guess I'm going to play Impulse. Or is it better to just play this? I know, I guess Impulse, because Impulse potentially gets me Discontinuity or Proctor or something. Third land, Shocking End, plays pieces of the puzzle. Chooses Spike Hazard, Dig Through Time. All right, cast Impulse. Verdict, and 3 lands, one of which is Lotus Field. I don't think Verdict's too good here. So the only question is, do I want a normal land or a Lotus Field? I guess a Hall of the Storm Giants. Yeah, let's take that. And back to us. A lot of tap lands we got going on here. So I can play Lotus Field now and then next turn Hall of Storm Giants and have 4 mana open for Deluge or Emperor. I guess I have to do that. So let's cycle this and play Lotus Field, eat these 2, and go ahead. So I'm pretty sure they can get their Phoenix back this turn, right? Opt to the top. They can cast Dig and leave Phoenix in the yard. I'm surprised they wouldn't just start with Dig. Treasure Cruise. Spike Field us. Land. Phoenix comes back. Take 3. All right. I'm actually just going to main phase Emperor here. Eat your Phoenix. Go. Island. Thing in the Ice. Spike Field Hazard. Killing Wandering Emperor. Ticking down a counter. Second Lotus Field. I can try to jam Teferi, and then it just gets hit by counter spells potentially, so maybe it's better to play Deluge. I can also just play Temporary Lockdown, which gets through Spell Pierce and Izzet Charm. That might be better. All right, play this, and white Lockdown. Negate? Okay. Since when are they playing Negate main board? Dig through time. All right, pieces of the puzzle. At least they don't have any mana after that, right? So hit us with this. Ooh. So I go Teferi plus, play the second Lotus Field, or play Thespian. Yeah, play the second Lotus Field, untap Wandering Emperor, end step. So Teferi plus, second copy of Lotus Field, trigger, eat these, end step, resolve this ability, untap these, Emperor, kill your thing, and then pass. Opponent still has 7 cards in their hand though, so, you know, we're not out of it yet. Opt, dig through time, chart a course, discarding Phoenix, tapped Hall of Storm Giants, Phoenix comes back. Attack Teferi down to 2, and then back to us. All right, so I want to try to resolve Shark Typhoon this turn. Obviously get Spell Pierced, but what can you do? So I guess I can also just make a 5/5 Shark and put a counter on it, although they can axe it in response. So let's plus Teferi. All right, so Thespian Stage. So I can cycle the Shark to block, and that gets through a Spell Pierce, although not a removal spell. All right, cast Shark Typhoon. They have to have exactly Spell Pierce, which they could have. Opt, sure. So resolve that. Is it better to just make a Samurai? Nah, let's plus. And then go to my end step. Fairy trigger, untap these 2 lands. Back to them. Pieces of the puzzle. Lightning Axe and Consider. Treasure Cruise, sure. Consider. Kept it on top. Attempting to attack Teferi, so let's go... Actually, let's go blue, blue, Deluge. Trigger the Shark Typhoon. Make a 4/4 Shark. Obviously, they can axe it in response, but whatever. Axe discarding a land. Very well. Resolve Deluge, getting Discount, and Strict Proctor is not useful at this point, so I guess Vantress. And then with the 2 mana that I still have open, copy of Lotus Field. All right, so Phoenix kills Teferi, that's fine. End step, they have to clean up discarding another land. Another Lotus Field. All right, so, Thespian Stage, and let's go white, blue, play Teferi, trigger the Shark Typhoon to make a 5/5. Does this resolve? It does resolve, plus Teferi. Cast Memory Deluge, make a 4/4 Shark, Dream Trawler, and Impulse. Let's plus on the 5/5 Shark so that it's out of axe range. Now it gets axed in response. They discarded Quicken. All right, so then go to my end step, untap 2 Lotus Fields, back to them, consider, sure. Obviously I have discontinuity, but I'm just waiting. They also only have 10 cards left in their library. Consider again. Lightning Axe on our Shark, discarding a Phoenix, sure. Tapped Hall, Phoenix trigger, let's just discontinuity now. We get to make a 6/6 Shark, and then their Phoenix doesn't come back. Izzet Charm to counter it, sure, no counters, or no pay, rather. All right, Phoenix comes back. We get to block one of them, and they get to kill Wandering Emperor, I guess? No, they're both attacking Teferi, sure, block. And Teferi is still at 2 counters. Impulse the Shark, Thing in the Ice. Pretty good draw there, plus Teferi. So white, blue, Verdict, kill everything. Then white, this one, play Dream Trawler. Put a counter here. Play Vantress tapped. All right, yeah. So versus Phoenix, Thought Distortion seems pretty good. Sunfall to get rid of the Phoenixes forever. March of Otherworldly Light for the cheaper guys like Thing in the Ice / Ledger Shredder, whichever one they're playing. Narset's Reversal seems really good to get to cast Dig Through Times and Treasure Cruises. Shark Typhoon and Veto. All that seems good. What seems bad? Lockdown, Partition, Impulse, Sphinx's Rev. They have a bunch of cheapo. Verdict doesn't get rid of the Phoenixes forever, but it does get rid of stuff like Thing in the Ice, so I probably want at least one of them. And then Strict Proctor gets killed by like 10 million removal spells in their deck, so let's cut all that. All right, submit. Gust as well? Nah, I don't want to just gust a Phoenix. Just for it to go back into their hand, and then they just recast it or discard it to something. But they won't have the removal probably now. They probably still will have some removal. They can't cut all of their removal because they don't know what we're bringing in, right? Like, if they cut all their removal and we just have, like, a Lyra Dawnbringer or something, then they just lose on the spot. So they have to keep some removal in. This is fine. Keep this. Spire Bluff Canal, consider. Discards pieces of the puzzle. Play this tapped, and go. All Storm Giants. Thing in the Ice. All right, let's play white side or blue side. Let's play white side and go, and then pass with veto open. Consider, yeah, that can resolve. I'm not vetoing that. Gets rid of Negate. Shockland. Another Thing in the Ice, sure. At this point, I'm going to cycle this Shark because we need to find more cards, and it's not going to be relevant. Thought Distortion, all right. Thespian Stage, go. Opt, sure. I'm not going to counter any of these cantrips. I'm just going to counter whatever, like, big thing they try to play. Whether that's Izzet Charm, Treasure Cruise, third land. All right, pieces I'll counter. Although we're getting dangerously close to dying to these things. Can't play Memory Deluge. Can play the Wandering Emperor. So I guess I just pass. Yep, Treasure Cruise. Can't do anything about that. That one is at one counter. So they're highly incentivized to use a spell here. All right, well, I can't not do this. So Wandering Emperor. Yeah, Izzet Charm, which I can't pay for. Flips the other Thing in the Ice, which means I have to pretty much immediately draw an untapped land here, and they can't have Spell Pierce. All right, untapped land. Do they have Spell Pierce? They did not have Spell Pierce. Crackling Drake. All right, we got to answer that too. Can't cast Discontinuity either. I'm really stuck on blue mana. Yikes. I can flip this Incubator token. That doesn't matter. So yeah, I can't do anything. I guess I just got a Thespian Stage blue lands. Actually, they're almost at the mana where they can activate Hall of Storm Giants. So I'm almost just dead. All right. Looks like they're going straight into combat. All right, we got one turn to draw an answer to this Crackling Drake. We're at 4. All right, copy my Hallowed Fountain. Well, I can play Dream Hauler to at least block, although that's not great either. The alternative is to cast Deluge, and it probably just gets countered, and then I can't do anything anyway. Yep, all right. White, white, blue, blue. Oh, I'm actually short on mana for it? Oh, yeah. I'm one line short of it, too. Huh. I think I'm just dead then. Deluge. Yeah, all right. So let's see. They've got Crackling Drakes and Thing in the Ices, so I don't want to cut Verdict. Aether Gust is better now that I know they have Crackling Drake, although I guess it's still not that good. Like, it's not that good, actually. What else? So I guess the bigger question is just, like, what's bad? I still need March of Otherworldly Light. Dream Trawler is probably bad. It doesn't actually line up well against their bigger threats. Maybe one Wandering Emperor can go. All right, I guess let's run this. No Lotus Field, but we do have other things. All right, let's keep. I might actually need to Dwari Disrupt something, so let's play this for now. Oh, I guess I should have played Castle Ardenvale. Yeah, should have done that. All right, taps this. All right, there's nothing I'm going to veto on turn 2. I guess I would veto Izzet Charm. They tried to loot with it to get Phoenix into the yard. They won't do that main phase. I do need to have mana open so I can counter Thing in the Ice. All right, let's play this on blue and pass. Second land, yeah, Thing in the Ice, we need to counter that. There's the Lotus Field. I probably can't afford to wait, so let's cycle the Shark Typhoon now. All right, Lotus Field, eat these lands, and pass back to them. Pononat keeps it on top. Back to us. All right, do I need to keep 4 open? I guess I do, right? Shock this in, pass back to them. Although it's awkward because Lotus Field doesn't allow me to keep 4 open, really. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Counter that. All right. Castle Ardenvale and go. Tap land. Another Fable. This one we cannot counter, so let's make a guy. Thespian Stage. Okay. I guess I can try to discount them in their upkeep. But again, like, how useful is that actually? I just don't have anything else going on. All right, let's try it. Discontinuity. Yeah, negate, sure. And then that can discard some stuff. Phoenix Izzet Charm. Opt. Plays another land. Oh, man, if they Treasure Cruise after I went Shields down for Narset's Reversal, I did consider holding Narset's Reversal up as well. Like holding up Narset's plus a Gonjo. Yep, there's Treasure Cruise. And that's 3 spells. I don't even have good blocks here, so yeah. Take 5, go to 13. There's Veto. So a Gonjo, like, really isn't actually very good in my hand here. I think it's better to just continue to try and find more mana. So let's go this into play and then just pass it back to them. I'm not going to try to discount. My plan here is to hold up Veto / Narset's Reversal and then Thespian Stage copy Lotus Field. Goes directly to combat. So if I make a human I can double block the Shaman token and then just hold Veto up. All right, white. This one, make a human. Go to blocks. Block here, block here. Spike Field Hazard, Veto. All right, damage, we're at 10. They have this in play. We have to deal with it. Pieces of the puzzle. Gets another Phoenix into the yard, and they took Consider Mystical Dispute. Oh man, this is so bad. Cycle, try to hit Verdict. Nope. All right, pass back to them. Consider. So we know they have Mystical Dispute, which means we can pay for Narset's Reversal. Dig through time. All right, Reversal. Mystical Dispute, and then we pay for it. Considers in response. Bins a land. All right, so we resolved that. We get to Dispute. Ooh, Thought Distortion and Sunfall. So how much mana do I have? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not going to have the time to actually cast Distortion, though, because... So I just have to deal with this board. We take at minimum 6 right now. Actually, no, they're going to bring another Arclight back, so we're going to 1. So Sunfall has to resolve, and we have to have a counter spell to back it up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. I guess I go Sunfall, and then they'll go counter back, then we counter back, and then if they have another counter, we lose. Or I guess I can Narset's Reversal my Sunfall to try to get that again. All right, if they have double counterspell, we just lose the game. So let's take Thought Distortion. Plays a land. Crackling Drake. Oh, come on. So then they can copy Crackling Drake and we lose. All right, on to round number 4. That was one of those situations where I'm like going through all the possibilities of what do I need to get to win the game or to not lose. And there's, oh, you just have the answer anyway. All right. All right, then. So round 4, we are on the draw. We have no lands, Mulvis. Keruga. All right, so Keruga Fires is almost certainly the deck. This hand's so bad against Keruga Fires, but I guess I keep and throw an Emperor back. Zwei Triumph. Play Farmland. Pass to them. Hallowed Fountain tapped. All right, let's go Strict Proctor. Pass back to you. This does screw over Leyline Binding pretty hard. Unless they shock a land in and then Leyline and pay for it. Although they're missing green mana, right? Fable the Mirror Breaker. This is unfortunately, for some reason, not an ETB trigger. So play this, play another Strict Proctor, and go. Discards Heliod and Enigmatic Incarnation. Attacks with the Shaman. All right, I will double block it. It is dead, and now what is happening post-combat? Another land. Temporary lockdown, sure. You have to pay 4 for that, so, you know, that don't work. Bone Crusher, kill one of them. Okay, still doesn't work. So Vantress, and then I'm still not in a position where I can actually do anything, so I guess I just attack with the Proctor and then flash Wandering Emperor in. Flexion flips over. Enigmatic Incarnation. So they get to sack the lockdown and go find something that costs 4, which I guess is Shieldred, right? Usually it's Shieldred. It could be something else. So let's let them resolve this. I'm going to flash in Wandering Emperor regardless because I have nothing else to do. Clever Impersonator, copying that, sure. Flash in Wandering Emperor. Make a Samurai. Back to us. So they go get a 5-drop next. Man, do I need to find lands. Cycle Shark Typhoon. All right. Counter here. Go to combat. Swing. And then it's back to them. So they get to sack one of these to go find a 5-drop, which is what? Norn or Kenrith, like a million other really bad things for us. Another Fable. No attacks. Then triggers. Enigmatic. Sacks the other Enigmatic. That's a Clever Impersonator. Get to Norn, and this one is still going, so they could sack Fable. Sack itself, Cavalier of Dawn. Double triggers, but they can only pay for one of them. So they targeted Strict Proctor and Emperor, so which one are they countering? So they're killing Emperor off. That is actually fine by me. Okay, so all of their Enigmatics are gone, so they just have Norn Reflection to do more stuff. We still are not drawing lands, which is very frustrating, but let's see. I can Deluge and try to find Lotus Field. I guess that's the play, right? My only attacks is the Shark and the Strict Proctor. I'm not going to block with them anyway. Although, I can always represent being able to multi-block Norn. Not this, though. Alright, definitely Deluge. There's a Lotus Field and another Discontinuity. So we're definitely taking Lotus Field, and then I guess the other Discontinuity, right? Yeah. So this actually shuts down our Lotus Field trigger as well. Alright. Am I supposed to attack? They get to Reflection their Cavalier, right? And then they blow up multiple things. I guess I want to hold back blockers. Yeah, all right. So let's just pass to them. So Fable discards Tulsamir and another Enigmatic. So they go Reflection this, double trigger. They can pay for both of them, right? Touch the Spirit Realm. 2 triggers, they only get 1. So they're going to eat Proctor. Very well. Proctor is eaten. And then they're out of mana to copy anything, although they can Attack with the Shaman and then copy. Swing with both of these. Nope. They should definitely attack with their Shaman so they can clone something. Yeah, looks like they've seen the line. All right, so they get to copy Cavalier of Dawn. So I'm just going to put multiple of these here to ensure that at least the Shaman token dies. I can do it now and triple block Norn, forcing them to use it. I guess I want to force them to use it in case Teferi is my play next turn. So yeah, let's just force them to use it. Let's block Norn. So yeah, copy Cavalier, double trigger. They can blow up our guys. And then they get to double sack. Or no, they get one sack because they have one token. So then Norn kills the Samurai. And this triggers on instep and gets Enigmatic back, right? All right, so I can discontinuity and they don't have a response to that. I guess they can respond with reflection, but if I go to Fairy, I untap the Lotus field and I'm one short of casting discontinuity unless I find another land. So it's better to just discont in their upkeep. All right, pass to them, cast discontinuity. I guess since this ends the turn, does that mean they get to keep a token? Another discontinuity. Well, I guess I'm just passing and doing the same thing again because I need to get a land before I can use Teferi. Or main phase, copy Cavalier, sure. And they get to get back Enigmatic. All right, let's do it again. Discontinuity. All right, there's the Lotus field. So play Teferi, plus they can obviously blow it up with Cavalier, but what are you gonna do? Copy Cavalier, blow it up. So we draw another card, a Gonjo. So Lotus field, and then back to them. So Teferi's ability resolves, untap the 2 Lotus fields. And am I supposed to discontinuity them again, or am I supposed to cast Deluge? They have a lot of power on the board. They have also temp lockdown, so they can hit me for 4, 8, 12, or more damage, potentially. So I do think I am supposed to do it. So blue, discount. Just need to find a Farewell. Cast Impulse. Well, there's Verdict. That's reasonable. They get to reassemble a bunch of stuff, but at least this clears some of the board up. So white and blue, play Verdict. They can copy Cavalier and get Heliod back, right? Blink Norn out, sure. And then Reflection the Cavalier and they get to touch the Spirit Realm back. Yep. Oh, they blew up their own touch so that my Proctor will die as a result of it. Sure. And they get double Cavalier triggers and can get back both the touches, Fable, etc. All right, so they're getting back Heliod and Touch. We play this, play Teferi, plus, not that this is going to survive, another Verdict. All right, back to them. So these abilities all resolve. Norn comes back, untap the Lotus fields, and then back to them. And Reflection flips over. So right now they have Touch, Enigmatic, and a bunch of unknown cards. Leyline Binding to eat Teferi. Heliod. Double trigger gets back Touch Fable. Yep. I guess I just flash Wandering Emperor in here to block to take less damage. Make a Samurai. Go to blocks. Block. Okay, so play Verdict. Kill all these guys. Make a Samurai. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They still have Enigmatic and they can Enigmatic the Leyline Binding into some nonsense. But what else am I going to do? So play Dream Trawler. It's basically this or cast Memory Deluge, right? So they get to go Enigmatic, eat Binding, and grab Atraxa. Probably. It probably is correct for me to just Deluge. I don't know. Yeah, let's just Deluge. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's like no way Force Spike is going to be good. So let's just play that and pass. Enigmatic. All right, let's see what they do before we choose Deluge targets. So eat Binding, which puts Teferi back on the board so then they can Treachery the Teferi, sure. And they get it forever. Right, so Deluge, another Teferi, Sphinx's Revelation, Soul Partition. So I can partition the Teferi and then play it again, or I can Teferi tuck it. The correct move is probably Soul Partition plus Teferi. Sphinx's Revelation is also really good though. Sphinx's Revelation, I have to be able to deal with this. So Soul Partition. All right, all that resolves. End step so they can't activate it. Back to us. All right, put a counter here. Then we go Soul this one. Then cast this Teferi that costs 7. Oh, that costs 2 more. Oh, by an opponent costs 2 more. So it costs the same for me. All right, plus I'm 1 short of being able to cast Dream Trawler right now. All right, so fizzle the mana. Well, that was a bad move on my part then. I thought I had to pay 7 for it. All right, swing with the Samurai token. They're gonna block. I guess that makes sense if they have Kenrith in their deck, then they can reanimate it. Oh, blink it. And they get to steal Teferi again. That sucks. All right. Yep. What else are we gonna do though? End step triggers. So this comes back, they steal Teferi back. Then we untap the Lotus Fields. I guess I'm just going to cast Sphinx's Rev on their end step then, because I can't afford to wait around to play it. So plus the Fairy. Temp Lockdown. Okay, so they're going to kill Wandering Emperor off? Sure. Is the sacking it part of the same ability? So I can't wait for them to choose to sack or not. So I have to do it now in case they go grab Elishnorn, or not Elishnorn, Shieldred with the Temp Lockdown. Plays Fable. Trigger. All right, I have to use Revelation now. Draw 6 cards. All right. Farewell's pretty good here. We do still have to get rid of Teferi. They still have a freaking another Touch the Spirit Realm, right? So they still get to blink Agent of Treachery here. Yeah. So I guess Strict Proctor does prevent that though. All right. So play Farewell and choose every mode. Yeah. So Touch the Spirit Realm on that. Then resolve this. Eat everything. So then Proctor, play this. Then Teferi, tuck this one. And then Agent returns and then the trigger gets countered. All right. Can you believe this game is still going and we're nowhere even close to finishing it? All right. What's next on the agenda? 5 mana. Kenrith. So they can haste, kill our Teferi. Yeah. All right. Teferi dies. Back to us. So I can Deluge, find the Teferi, play the Teferi, and then I have to handle this Kenrith. I have a lot of mana. Blue, Deluge. Teferi plus Otawara. Then play Teferi. Plus play a Lotus Field. And then the trigger goes on the stack and I just don't pay for it. End step, untap 2 Lotus Fields. Back to them. Bone Crusher Giant. I guess I respond now. So Otawara, bounce this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it correct to do that? Yeah, I guess it is correct to do that. So Otawara. And then if they want to hit in for Teferi, they've got to activate his abilities now before Bone Crusher touches down. Activates the haste power and trample. Sure. Bounce that. Then Bone Crusher comes in and it's a new creature and does not have haste. Fable the Mirror Breaker. Oh, I could have countered that. Yeah, it's fine though. I'll just scry with Vantress. All right, scry, blue, this one. Lockdown, no. Discontinuity, yes. Plus Teferi. Thespian Stage. All right, play that. Blue, white, Dream Trawler. What else? Stop on opponent's upkeep. Deluge, blue. This one. Farewell, I guess, or Verdict. So another Deluge and Farewell in case things go sideways. This copies a Lotus Field. Then I guess I attack with Strict Proctor. Yeah, swing. Untap 2 Lotus Fields. Back to them. I have to clean up, discard Hallowed Fountain. Upkeep, discontinuity. We're officially out of discontinuities. Always yield to this. Cycles of Triome. Plus Teferi. Triggers that. What else? I don't think I can kill them this turn, but we may as well cast Deluge. So blue, this, Deluge. Another Deluge, Impulse. We have so much mana anyway. Impulse, I guess. Another Teferi. Or Strict Proctor. Another Teferi. I guess Ardenvale blocks a thing. All right, Ardenvale. Play Ardenvale. Go to combat. Cycle Zagoth Triome. Swing here. Trigger Dream Trawler. We draw a card. It's 6 power. We hit them. Did I already lose my Hall of Storm Giants? No, I just haven't drawn it yet. All right. We have 13 cards in... No, we have 9 cards in hand, so I'm going to discard 2 lands, and then we're good. All right. End step. Untap 2 lands. Clean up. Discard the 2 Hallowed Fountains. And we're back to their turn. Discards 2 Enigmatic Incarnations. So they are dead in 1 hit to Dream Trawler. Replays Kenrith. Haste and trample the team. Very well. Plays another land. Tapped. None of this matters because they're just dead to Dream Trawler. Swing at us. Everything's at us. All right. Wandering Emperor. Eat Kenrith. And then that's fine. Everything can hit us. We go to 20. All right. Make a human. Then back to us. Dream Trawler trigger. Put a counter on Strict Proctor. Go to combat. Swing. All right. That was game 1. Oh my gosh. What are we doing game 2? Want most of this stuff, I think. So Sunfall to permanently exile their guys. Veto to counter all their enchantments. Aether Gust is relevant against Fable, Enigmatic, Fires. Yeah, so that comes in. March is a potential out to various enchantments in their deck or creatures. Temp Lockdown, not good. Soul Partition's okay. It's also good when they steal stuff and then we can take it back. So Impulse is our worst card draw spell. That can go. Dream Trawler is usually not good. Wandering Emperor is also not particularly great in this matchup. They have Vigilance creatures. They also have a lot of creatures that just get value by being around. You also have to sweep the board a lot. So let me just cut all the Wandering Emperors, and then what else? Thought Distortion. They do have a fair number of creatures, but they also have a bunch of spells that we can get rid of. I don't know what else to cut for that, though. Strict Proctor's pretty good here too. Sphinx's Rev. What is cuttable? 1 Jwari Disruption and 1 Verdict. All right, let's do that. All right, we've got Lotus Field on turn 3 with Discontinuity we're keeping. Spar's Headquarters. Land, go. Tap land. Play this. Pass it back to them. Hold veto up. 3rd land. Shock it in. They're just going to pass. Okay. I guess they can cycle something. So let's go Lotus Field. Cast Discontinuity. No, they brought in counters. Okay. Well, that's not too bad. We still have the 2 lands to sack, so that's fine. 4th land. All right. Play this and go. Back to them. 5th land. And back to us. And then back to them because we can't do anything. And looks like they're just passing back to us. All right, I'm actually going to cast this Revelation for 1 mana. All right, Sphinx's Rev X is 1. We drew a card. All right, and it's a land. Let's just keep passing now that we have more lands. If they're not going to do anything, I'm not going to do anything. Tap Savai Triumph. Play this tapped and go. Alpine Moon. All right, definitely countering that. White, blue. I guess it doesn't matter which one I use, right? Veto. Okay, back to us. There's another Lotus Field. I don't want to play it until I can ensure that I have mana for it. So let's just play, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, shock this in. Play Teferi. If they counter it, I'm not going to quibble. Yeah, all right. So hold veto up and then have another Teferi next turn. Fable, veto back. All right, Teferi. Does this resolve? Mystical Dispute. It does not resolve. All right, Proctor. Play Lotus Field. Can't pay for that. All right, back to them. What do you got? Kotose. Exile target card other than the basic from the graveyard. Search the player's graveyard hand library for any number of the same effect. They can't pay for the Strict Proctor trigger though, right? Yeah. Then they play their land. And you can play one of the cards. So it's an extraction effect where you get to play one of the cards. All right, play this. Trigger. No pay. I'm not blocking this, so let's just... I guess I can just start animating Hall. Yeah. Go to combat. Swing, swing. Jump block with Kotose. All right, back to them. They also didn't reveal Keruga this time. Oh, because they brought in Alpine Moon. Fable the Mirror Breaker. Bone Crusher Giant. All right, I'm very incentivized to just farewell everything now. So let's go to combat. Swing with Strict Proctor. And then let's go farewell all modes. Then to them. So then they just have 2 cards and we have veto open. Bunch of mana. Well, Agent of Treachery sucks. So now they get to steal our Hall, right? Oh, I guess I could have animated Hall in response. I'm dumb. I'm so dumb. Yep, I could have animated it in response and then it would have had ward. All right, well, I don't know what to do now. So I guess I just play this and pass. So now the animate. All right, chump block this. All right, Sunfall. I get a 1/1 incubation token that I can use to block. So the problem is not can I get out of this. The problem is can I win in the time I have left without it. Transform, block, blue, cycle, Ardenvale. All right, pass. So now I can just make humans to chump this. Animate Hall. All right. Make a human, block here, back to us. All right, there's Deluge. So cast Deluge, grabbing Deluge, Thespian Stage, play Thespian Stage, go. So now I'll just let it hit me. So yeah, it hits me. I go to 12. I just have to find like an actual answer to this stuff. Play Zotawara. All right, veto that. Cast Deluge from the graveyard. Oh, they have a counter? Sure. All right, blue, white, Deluge. Soul Partition, veto. Back to them. It is a non-land permanent, unfortunately. Animate, combat. All right, make a human. Go to blocks. Opponent plays Enigmatic, counter that. Copy Lotus Field. Okay, blue, white, Teferi. Plus, cycle this. Thespian Stage. Flash this back. Another Teferi and Shark Typhoon. There we go. All right, we're good. End step. Untap 2 Lotus Fields. Animate Hall. White this, make a human. Go to blocks. I can win with the Shark Typhoon in the time we have left. Aether Gust. All right, back to us. Teferi, then go blue, blue, cast Shark Typhoon. Teferi triggers, untap the Lotus Fields, and we're good. We can win this way. Opponent animates Hall. I have 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Attack Teferi, make a human. Block, plays another land. All right, blue, blue, Deluge. Always yield to this. Resolve Deluge, don't care what I'm grabbing. Flashback Deluge. Oh my god, 10 seconds left. Combat. Swing, swing. I have to clean up. God damn, I'm going to lose to the time. So multiple things there. I could have obviously animated Hall in response to the Agent of Treachery, which would have meant that they couldn't have stolen it, which then would have meant that we wouldn't have gone so long, and I would have just won by hitting them with the Hall. And the second thing is I just could have played faster to potentially win there. So yep, entirely my bad for the result of that match. I will, however, also blame partly the Moto interface, because there's a lot of things that take unnecessarily longer than they need to. Specifically with tapping mana. It just refuses to tap and spend mana correctly. So the auto tapper just straight up doesn't work. So a lot of the time you just have to manually tap all your lands. And a lot of times you just have mana floating in your pool and it will refuse to spend it. Even if you have only the same type and color of mana, it will still just refuse to spend it without you manually clicking at all. I don't know why it does that. But yeah, obviously the main problem there was not animating Hall of the Storm Giants in response to Agent. All right, we're on the draw for round number 5. I will also say Moto not only makes you a worse player, I think it's by design that it does that. Because there's a lot of... So on Moto, you're very incentivized to just... Because you have to manually pass priority, you're incentivized to just like, okay, yeah, go. Tap one, pass priority. Which makes you pass priority into things that you shouldn't, which would never happen in paper. And having to like reset the stops every time. There's just all these little finicky things that add up and are annoying. Duress us. All right, that's fine. Temp Lockdown and Verdict. Proctor is the best play with these double Lotus fields that we have. So Blooming Marsh with Duress inclines me to believe this is Greasefang. Yeah, Concealed Courtyard, 100% Greasefang. So play this, play Proctor. Grizzly Salvage. They found nothing of really any relevance, and they had nothing to choose either. All right, back to us. Are they going to kill this on upkeep? No. So Lotus Field, no pay, then go to combat. I'm going to hold up Drawry Disruption at this point instead of playing the second Proctor. 4th land, back to us. All right, another Lotus Field, trigger, no pay, go to combat, swing with Proctor. I guess I play the other Proctor now. So play Proctor and pass. So this is shutting off Essica's Chariot and Sky Sovereign, basically. So Sky Sovereign... again, I should have just countered that. Moto, it's just such an incentive to just like, oh yeah, okay, pass. Obviously should have countered that because now they can crew it. So cycle this. All right, at least I drew Otawara. Well, there's Teferi, so that's pretty much game over. Teferi plus another Teferi. All right, go to combat, swing here, then end step, untap these. I guess they still just don't have anything though. All right, I may as well bounce this end of turn then. Plus, all right, go to combat, swing. Yep, back to them. Land tapped, not even bothering to replay Sky Sovereign, eh? Plus, Lotus Field, no payment, go to combat, swing, Fairy Trigger, untap this, Thoughtseize us, Flash Wandering Emperor in. Alright, Thoughtseize resolves. Takes farewell. Make a Samurai. Alright, so we obviously win that game. So versus Greasefang, I want instant speed removal. I want Gust doesn't actually do anything, and neither does I guess Gust can like counter their Grizzly Salvage, so it's not entirely useless. Shark Typhoon makes sharks later. I don't know how useful that is. So basically all the things that put the vehicles in the graveyard are spells that we can counter. So it's bad. Lockdown, Soul Partition, Wandering Emperor doesn't actually stop their onslaught of nonsense. Dream Trawler, Rev is too slow. Anything like super late game stuff like this is too slow. I guess just get rid of Wandering Emperor completely. And don't need this many vetoes, let's say. One of the Aether Gusts. All right, on the draw. This is fine. Turn 1 Concealed Courtyard into Thoughtseize. I guess they just take Gust now, right? No, taking Discontinuity. All right. Does that mean their hand's really slow and they just don't have the payoff? Because otherwise I would take Aether Gust to stop Grizzly Salvage, right? Or they're just going to salvage main phase. Raffine's Informant. Discards Boat. All right, play Thespian Stage, go. Hit by the Raffines. Go to 17. Plays another Raffine's Informant. Discards Scrapwork Mutt. Land. All right, play this tapped and back to them. I guess we're just casting Verdict next turn. 4th mana. Not bothering to unearth this. Take 6 from the Informants. All right, I'm forced into Verdicting here, so let's play this and cast Verdict. Because of the way the auto tapper works, it's so poorly implemented that it's actually faster to manually tap all of your lands for mana first and then cast the spell. Because it will just use the mana that you have floating, as opposed to if you try to cast the spell and then float the mana, it'll add all the mana to your pool and then you have to manually click all the mana to use it. All right, unearth Scrapwork Mutt, discarding Chariot, and now they're just going to Greasefang the Chariot in. Yep. And then the Chariot even bounces back to their hand, so even after I Verdict this turn, they just get to replay the Chariot. So go to 5. All right, we really needed to draw a land there. Play Verdict, back to them. So Chariot comes back. I need to draw 2 lands back to back. All right. So float, play Lotus Field, trigger eating these 2, and then I have to Gust a cat token. but if they have any other creature, then they get to crew the Chariot. So it's either Gust a cat token, hope they don't draw another creature, or it's Gust Chariot, then they hit us to 1, then they replay Chariot and we have to draw land. I guess no, I get to Gust again, right? So I have another Gust. So let's Gust a cat token, and then if they play another creature, then I just Gust in response. Cracks Vessel, finds Shieldred, which is not a thing I can hit. Plays Shieldred, so I have to Gust the Chariot now. I guess, no, I Gust the cat token, then they crew Chariot, put us to 1. No, I have to Gust the Chariot, right? No, okay, so yeah, I have to Gust the Chariot. I guess I can always Gust it when they go to attack, so yeah. Shieldred resolves. Yeah, all right, so Gust that, because I can't, so I get hit 2 here, and then Shieldred puts us to 1 when we draw. All right, it has to be an untapped land, and then we still have to answer Chariot next turn. It is an untapped land. Thespian Stage, farewell, all modes. So back to them. Then the Chariot comes back again and puts another 2 blockers into play, or another 2 attackers into play, which are both lethal, including itself. So we once again have to draw really well. All right, so I can go Teferi, tick down, doesn't work. What else works? I have to Teferi into Wandering Emperor, blue, white, colorless, Teferi. Plus, all right, we're dead. The Gusts are not that good. I don't know what else I would do, though. Oh, all right, I boarded out one Emperor. Is Sunfall useful? Not really. They have vehicles in play. Shark Typhoon's a good way to make a bunch of blockers. Gusts felt pretty bad. Yeah, let's cut that. Do you think the seemingly never-ending... Oh, hang on. So, on the play. I'll get to that comment in a bit. All right, we have a good curve here with Proctor into Lotus Field, so this is fine. Play this, go. Land, Vessel... All right, this one, Strict Proctor, pass. Do you think the seemingly never-ending mana curve may have something to do with why WotC card design has suffered? An 8-drop is usually designed to be twice as good as a 4-drop, but is then too hard to cast and instead needs to either be cheated into play or board stalled. Do you think WotC could fix some of their modern design issues by making lower mana value cards overall, could help speed up gameplay and make aggro control mid-range cards at every mana value? I'm not really sure what you mean by all that. Play this, Proctor. So if they just have Greasefang next turn, I can't veto it. I can Impulse for an answer. I don't think the move is to chump block Parhelion, although attacking here is so minimally useful that I may as well just not attack. Like slow play control wouldn't exist if 5+ drops didn't exist, at least not if modern 5+ drops didn't exist. They Vesseled and chose Essica's Chariot. Okay. Again, I don't really know what you mean. Like, what is the issue that you're bringing up? All right, veto Liliana. All right, so they potentially have Essica's Chariot next turn, which doesn't matter because it doesn't trigger. So I think I'm much more inclined to Deluge right now and try to find other things to do. All right, so there's another Lotus Field, and I don't particularly care about playing a second Proctor. So let's just grab Ardenvale just so we have more lands. They can't Greasefang next turn anyway, so let's just play Lotus Field. No pay. And then now I will attack. All right, tap land. Thoughtseize, sure. Takes Farewell. Back to us. All right, I can just hard cast Shark Typhoon. Blue, blue. Hard cast Shark Typhoon. Go to combat. Swing. Then to them. And now we're just going to win via the Sharks. Knight of Autumn. Oh, it doesn't get a trigger. Yeah, that's fine. No trigger for you. All right, cast Impulse. Always yield to the Sharks. Finding Farewell is, I guess, the only card that's relevant here. Although, I guess Vantress is also potentially relevant. Also Thespian Stage. I have a Deluge. Let's just grab Thespian Stage. Back to us. All right, well, Teferi. So Thespian Stage, this one, and then these two. Play Teferi. Trigger, make a 5/5 Shark. All right, yeah. All right, so 2 and 3 with the deck, although obviously I screwed up the previous match, so if I had not screwed that up, it would have been a 3 and 2. That said, while the deck does obviously have its upsides with the Lotus Field package and Strict Proctor incidentally sometimes just hits stuff, I think that what you have to cut in order to make this Lotus Field package work is not worth it. There's too many times where you basically don't have enough things to do in the early game, no counter spells or no removal to stay alive. So essentially, like, what is the problem with all control decks? Or like, what's the trade-off with all control decks? It's usually that you're good in the late game, but you're bad in the early game. So this deck just says it's going to be even better in the late game, but even worse in the early game, and that's a trade-off that I don't think is worth it. I do feel like the traditional blue-white control is better than this variant.